So, 22 years after its initial release back on June 19th, 1998, with a amazing legacy, and with Disney giving us one of the better Disney princesses that we ever had, does this original classic still holds up 22 years later? And how, and before its live action counterparts next month, does it still bring a lot of happiness into a lot of girls and a lot of boys and a lot of audiences' lives? Let's get into that today in my anniversary review, 22-year anniversary review of Disney's 1998 Renaissance era film, Mulan. Mulan is directed by Barry Cook and Tony Bancroft, based on Mulan and the Ballad of Mulan by Walt, and stars Na-Wen, B.D. Wong, Eddie Murphy, Miguel Ferrer, the late Pat Morita, and George Takei. What's going on, guys? This is Joshua, aka Future Filmmaker 3940 Reviews here. I wanted to do this in anticipation for the live action remake, which I'm actually really curious about. And I figure since its 22-year anniversary is coming just around the corner this month, why not give my thoughts on this masterpiece here, and why do I feel like this movie still holds up? We got a lot to talk about here, so if you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell to get notified when new videos up, so that way you won't miss when a new video drops or when a post on my community tab drops. Otherwise, even if you are subscribed, you aren't going to get every single notification. Also, be sure to follow me in all the social media links in the description box down below to tell me, what did you think of Mulan 1998? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Did you grow up with this movie? Where does this rank in terms of favorite Disney animated films, as well as best Disney Renaissance films of the Disney Renaissance era? Now, that being said, let's get into this gem. The first thing I want to talk about is my relationship with the movie as a young kid. I remember seeing this back on Disney XD at a very young age. It was one morning that was showing this, and this was back in 2008 or 2009 during the summer season, and I ended up really enjoying it, and there was a lot of great moments in the movie that I ended up really enjoying. But over the years, this is a movie that I end up thinking of as far as animated movies. What are some of the best? This is one of the best animated movies out there, and there is a reason why this movie is in my 100 favorite movies of all time. But you have to wait till August to see where it's gonna go on that list, because I'm not telling you. That is gonna be one of the birthday surprises there. So, my relationship as a young kid, this movie stood out to me because it was a Disney film, and this was before I got even more exposed to YouTube, and before I even thought of doing a YouTube channel. This was me back as a young kid, probably 8 or 9, 2008, 2009, I can't remember. But this movie has always had a place in my heart, because because it's a great animated movie. But before I get into the plot, I want to talk about how this movie came to be and the legacy behind it. They were trying to get this movie made for so long back in 1994, and they're following the success of the other movies like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin and the Lion King. The Disney Renaissance era looked like it was getting on track, but then after The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules both came out and underperformed, there was a lot of development going on with this movie. This was a challenging process because if this movie was not successful, it would mean doom for the Disney Renaissance and for Disney movies. And I think because of that, and also this movie, they started developing the movie in 1994, and there was a number of artistic supervisors that were sent out to China to get artistic and cultural inspiration for this movie. And not only that, in terms of how this movie the script for the movie came to be, this was originally going to be conceived as a Tootsie-like romantic comedy, where Mulan was a misfit tomboy and she loves her father very much, like she does in the actual movie we got now, and she is betrothed to Shang, who she has not met. And on her betrothal day, her father, Fazu, carves her destiny on a stone tablet in the family temple, which she shatters in anger, running away to forge her own destiny. But then in November 1993, when they were in development process of this movie, Chris Sanders, who finished working on The Lion King, not the remake, the OG Lion King. You see, what I did there, I just call it OG to not have people get confused. He came on and he became head of the story for this movie. And he grew frustrated with the romantic comedy aspect of the story, and he actually pushed the producers, including Pam Coats and the rest of the filmmakers, to be more faithful to the original legend by having Mulan leave home because of the love of her father. And this also had, not only that, they also decided to change Mulan's character in order to make her more appealing and selfless. And one of those moments was Secret 6, which we'll get into a little later. And also, they decided to not only do that, but they also decided to make some changes with this. As far as adding Li Shang and adding Mushu and adding musical numbers. So while many of you people out there who heavily love this original, who just want to bash a lot of that remake, saying this is the faithful version, no, not really, because they changed things for this to work. And if it hadn't been for Chris Sanders, this movie would not have worked. I feel like this movie, we wouldn't have gotten the movie that we got now. And also, before the movie even came out, because of the box office results of The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules respectively, Disney, they decided to restrict the marketing campaign for Mulan to spend only $30 million on promotional advertisements, compared to the $60 million the year before this. And also, not only that, they decided to premiere the original Mulan at the Hollywood Bowl, complete with Chinese lanterns and fortune cookies. And there was a big marketing campaign back when this movie was coming out. You had McDonald's commercials with toys you get from the Happy Meal.
Disney's Mulan is now on video, and all new action toys are at McDonald's. You can get one spinning or launching toy in every Happy Meal you buy.
I am ready, baby!
Did somebody say, yeah? McDonald's?
You also have Nesquik.
Nestle Quick brings you even more fun with Disney's new movie, Mulan, now in theaters. Because when you down that irresistible chocolatey taste of Nestle Quick, you can enter to win a cool Mushu plush toy. What a fun way to relive the action and adventure of Disney's Mulan all over again.
Commercials. You have a commercial for this movie on PlayStation 1.
Mulan for the PlayStation game console. Journey with Mulan and Mushu. Help Mulan find a dress.
Beautiful.
Play many new games. Sing psalms and save the Emperor. Disney's Mulan for PlayStation from New Kid Co. Game console sold separately. Costumes not included.
And also, you had a bunch of dolls for the movie created by Mattel.
From Disney's Mulan. Secret hero Mulan, the army's calling to you. Cut your flowing hair and do what you must do. The beautiful hair's gone. She's ready for training. So much to learn you can do with Captain Shane will help you through it. Yeah! Courage shining through every move you do. Secret hero Mulan, there's a hero inside of you. You can remove the hair. Use Secret Hero Mulan doll again and again. The Captain doll sold separately.
Also books. So when the movie came out, no one was expected it to be a hit as it was, but the filmmakers, they had a vision that, and they had confidence in the movie would be as good as it was. Now this movie got a lot of praise, especially for the themes of family duty and honor, and it broke a lot of new ground back in '98. And not only that, this movie got a lot of awards, Annie Awards, Oscar it was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Score, but it lost to Shakespeare in Love in 1999 Academy Awards. And the legacy that this movie had, you had a video game for the movie. You also had a sequel, which people say is not as good, but I'm going to re-reviewing that sequel and we're going to find out where I stand personally on it. And you have this live action remake coming out. So to say that this is not a very well loved movie would be an understatement, because this is a very well loved movie. Now I think it's time to talk about the plot. The plot of Mulan 1998 is that this movie takes place in China, and the Huans, who are led by Shen Yun, invades Han China by breaching the Great Wall. So the Chinese Emperor orders a general mobilization with conscription notices requiring one man from each family to join the Chinese army. And therefore, fearful that her ailing father will be drafted into the Chinese military, Mulan, played by the also lovely, gorgeous, always amazing, beautifully talented, extremely attractive Ming-Na, takes his spot. Though, as a girl living under a patriarchal regime, she is technically unqualified to serve. So she cleverly impersonates a man and goes off to train with fellow recruits, and accompanied by her dragon Mushu, played by the always funny Eddie Murphy. She uses her smarts to help ward off a Huan invasion and fall in love with a dashing captain along the way. That's the plot of this movie in a nutshell. Now, when it comes to, before I get into my positives and negatives, let's talk about Mulan as a character. How does she hold up as a character? What makes her interesting? Why is she my favorite Disney princess of all time? I think one of the big reasons why is that she's not a Disney princess. You may think she is a Disney princess, but she doesn't wear a tiara but she's more of a warrior. And not only that, I do think that another reason why she is my favorite Disney princess of all time, and why I think she is a great example of strong female characters, is that she represents what a female character should always be. Determined, strong-willed, full of feminism, but not shoved down your throat. The good feminism, not the feminism they did in Black Christmas or Charlie's Angels. No. That ain't feminism. That's feminism done the wrong way. When you have characters like Mulan, she is a strong character. She's determined. She doesn't want to let her father do this, and she's willing to do what she has to do, even if at the expense it puts her in consequences. And Mulan, she is a phenomenal Disney animated character. Not to say that Elsa or Anna are bad, because don't get me wrong, I love all those other Disney princesses. A lot of people talk about Belle. They talk about Ariel. They talk about Moana. They talk about Princess Jasmine. Even Anna and Elsa. Don't get while those are all amazing characters, even Snow White is a great character. When it comes to Mulan, I think a lot of people should be acknowledging the fact that she is another strong female character as far as Disney goes. She's a badass. She's determined. She's pretty attractive for a hand-drawn animation character, but she has a lot of depth to her, and she's willing to do what has to be done, which therefore makes her a strong-willed character. And as far as female characters in multimedia, there are a lot of female characters that I really do love. You heard me gush over how much I love Wonder Woman, how much I like Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, how much I appreciate Hermione Granger and Scarlet Witch, played by Elizabeth Olsen. But if I had to do a top 10 or top 20 female characters in film, Mulan would definitely make that list, because Mulan deserves to be on some kind of list with other female characters of all time. And that's what I feel like Mulan is my favorite princess, and my thoughts on her as a character. We'll get into more of the acting and her determination a little later. But now, let's get off into the positive side of this movie, because there are a lot of great things in this movie. The biggest positives here goes to the animation, production design, and the direction and writing, as well as the runtime. I want to start off with the runtime first, because I feel like this movie, the runtime is very fast-paced. It's a very fast-paced movie. It never stops. You just keep on going and going and going. It's like it's taking you on the journey with the character. You feel like you're in her shoes, and anytime you watch a movie with an animated character or a live-action character, you want to be invested on the journey throughout the whole way. And with Mulan, you do get that with her. The movie is only an hour and 27 minutes, so when you put that together, that is 87 minutes. You could easily went for an extra couple minutes, and I would still be synced into it because of the character and because of the journey that you're going along with her. But I feel like the short pace in this movie is warranted. It's very fluid, and this all comes down to the editing. You could have had a few more minutes for some character development for other characters, but the fast pace is nice. You just watch. You sit there watching it, and I just watched it a few days ago just to prep for this review, which is why the reason I'm reviewing it now before it's the anniversary of the film's release instead of later, which is because I'm easily happy to talk about it, it's a fast-paced movie. It gets you straight in, gets you straight out. You get the beginning with Mulan trying to be a matchmaker, the middle with her going on the journey, the end getting her respect, what she wants. And it is a great character progression for the character Mulan, which I'll get back into. But we have to talk about the animation, of course. Animation-wise and visual aesthetics, for a movie that cost $90 million and for 1998, the animation is still really good. Animation here is still really great. It's a nice mix of hand-drawn animation, but you can also tell that all of the animators and the creative team, they really want to put their heart and soul into the animation and make this feel like you're in China with Mulan. And they actually went to China and actually did that. And I think that is what it really does a great job at doing. I do love it. The animation here, the design, and the animation, the visual aesthetic here. I do have to give credit to the production designer and the art director, as well as the head of background supervisor and everyone involved in the animation and design process. Because the animation in this movie is a very harmonious look. It's very bright, it's very colorful, and it reminisces the style of Chinese paintings, as you could say. Watercolor and simple designs, as opposed to details of the Lion King and the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And they studied, and you can even tell the production designer himself, Hans Becker, he further studied more than 35 film directors ranging from the silent era of the German Expressionism, British and American epics of the 1950s, 60s, and even some influence for the spaghetti westerns, for composition, lighting, and staging the world around all the characters to enhance them. And the additional inspiration was found for this movie with the earlier films that Disney's made, such as Bambi, Pinocchio, and Dumbo. And you get the sense of visual aesthetic here, and that is one of the best things about it. The visual aesthetics are incredible here. There's a lot of color. It doesn't feel like they take the color out of the film. And even though this was developed late while they were making the film, they used the Fowls plane. And the Fowl plane is used in 5 different shots of this movie. The dramatic opening sequence, which features the Great Wall of China, the final battle when Mulan runs to the Forbidden City, and during the scene with the Chinese bowing down to Mulan, is a panoramic film of people bowing down. And I like how they edited that into the animated foreground of the scene. So that was very genius for that. So the animation and visual aesthetics is crisp and clean. It feels like if this movie was re-released in theaters before the live action remake, if you didn't have to deal with all this pandemic crap, if this was on the big screen for its 22-year anniversary, which unfortunately it probably won't be, it would still feel nice and crisp and clean, and that is a big praise there. So in that respects, I do have to give credit to all the animators, especially the 400 animators and all the lighters and compositors and artists who were willing, and storyboard artists that is willing to make every frame of this movie work. We do have to talk about the direction and the writing. I do, from the writing standpoint of all 5 different people who was willing to write this movie, and both directors, Barry Cook and Tony Bancroft, from direction and writing standpoint, I have to give them a round of applause. You have 5 writers, one of them including Chris Sanders, who worked on How to Train Your Dragon. The screenplay is very enriched, it's very witty, it's very fast-paced, it's energetic, it's very... You do have this dramatic parts, you do have your musical parts. It does have nice action set pieces written in the script, so you can tell that all 5 writers, Rita, Hsiao, LaZebnik, Chris Sanders, Eugenia, Bostwick-Singer, Raymond Singer, I would say they all did great, and they do a very great job with the script as much as the director does a great job with the direction. Every scene that's directed and written feels earned, it feels well handled. I do like the changes that they decide to make here, and the secret, and it feels like you're there. It's great writing, it's great dialogue you can quote even in your sleep, especially on Mushu's part. So I do have to give a round of applause for that. It does fine. The writing and direction it fits, because if this was a different writer and director, it wouldn't work as well. as it does back then, and it still does now. So I do hope with the remake you do have a good enough, decent writing in there, is because the direction shows as far as shows go. So direction and writing is absolutely well done. I can't talk about this movie and not talk about the determination of the main character. She is a very determined character. This is why another reason why she's my favorite princess, because she reminds anyone so much of, she's determined character. She's willing to do this for her father, even if it does get her into trouble. And I do like what they're trying to do. And I do like how the movie progresses forward with Mulan having to, how she's willing to just go through this and just fight, stand and fight with the men. And she does get ridiculed for being a girl. They think she's a girl, and that secret does come into play. But at the same time, you buy into it because you're invested in the characters and you're invested in the world. And the character development is strong too with each character. Some characters get more developed more than others, but Mulan's determination, because at first the movie you see that she's very clumsy and she's very bubbly, and she wants to prove that she's more than what she truly is. Which that does come into one of the musical numbers for this movie called Reflection, and which that's the message of that song. And the fact that she's willing to cut her own hair and take the armor of her father and fight, it shows how determined that is. At the very expense, they did that very well with determination. It's great build up to what she eventually becomes in the finale. It's not forced feminism propaganda or SJW pandering, as you would see in most movies like Black Christmas 2019 or Charlie's Angels 2019 or Ghostbusters 2016, which I do not want to talk about Ghostbusters 2016 ever again on this channel. But it's a very great character progression for her. She progresses very well throughout the movie, determined to fight and to participate in the war. I do love her character progression throughout this movie. But Shan Yu is one of the most coolest villains Disney's ever had. And he's also one of the more underrated Disney villains. I think many people, when you bring up Disney villains, they talk about how good Jafar is, how good the Prospector is from Toy Story 2, how good Lotso is, even how good Gaston or the Maleficent or the is. But I feel like many people that don't really talk about Shan Yu as a villain. He is determined, he is evil, he is menacing, and he's intimidating. You feel like he is a threat, because at the beginning of the movie, you set that up very well with him attacking the Great Wall of China. I felt like that was really well handled. It shows you what kind of villain you're in for. And not only that, he has a cool look to him, and he has the cool eyes, where his eyes glow all orange and red, which is kind of fiery, that was another cool addition on the animator's part. But it also comes with the voice acting that comes around. In the case of Miguel Ferrer, the late Miguel Ferrer, who sadly is no longer with us, he passed away last decade. He did a great job in this role. This is my favorite performance from him. He's good in the stuff I've seen him in, especially in The Stand as Lloyd Henry. But he fits the bill as his character, and I felt like if it was anyone else playing him, Shan Yu would not be as intimidating as he was. So for that, the movie gets even a bigger boost up Now we get on to the remainder, which is, does the musical numbers in this movie hold up? If you ask me, they do. They do hold up. The songs in this movie hold up very well. Now, initially, Stephen Schwartz was attached to compose the lyrics and music for the songs that are provided in this movie after a research trip. And he was contacted by Jeffrey Katzenberg at the time, who was running Disney, to do music for Prince of Egypt, which he agreed to. And then Peter Snyder, then the president of the Disney Feature Animation, he threatened to remove Schwartz's name from any publicity for Pocahontas or Notre Dame. So Michael Eisner phoned him and called him back in, urging him to back out of his commitment, which he refused. And Stephen Schwartz, he left the project. So after the departure, 3 of his songs, Written in Stone, Destiny, and China Doll, were dropped completely amid story and character changes. And they tried getting multiple other composers, especially Danny Elfman and Thomas Newman, were selected. And Rachel Portman was initially going to do it, but she became pregnant during production of the film. So we ended up with Matthew Wilder and David Zippel writing 5 of the songs, and if he composed by them, with a 6th initially playing for Mushu, but they didn't use it because of Eddie Murphy's involvement with the character. But each song in this movie holds up. You have the first song in the movie, of course, which is Bring Honor to Us All, which is a very catchy tune, great lyrics, and it's a fun little musical sequence here. You also have I'll Make a Man Out of You, which I'll get to that. But I gotta say, from a lyric standpoint and a music standpoint, it is great. And also, the big song you have to talk about is Reflection, because Reflection in this is, that song is the best song in the movie. It's another one of Disney's best musical numbers. And this was the first single for the Mulan soundtrack, and not only that, this also introduced us to Christina Aguilera as a singer, and this was her first song to be released in the US, and it started her career. And her vocals were very well received, that it went with her a contract with RCA Records at the time. With all that said, I do have to say the musical numbers definitely holds up. I have to get on into the performances of the voice cast. I've already mentioned how good Miguel Ferrer is, but let's talk about the main character herself, Ming-Na as Mulan. Her voice fits this character very well as Mulan. She brings a lot of sweet and a very likable and lovely voice to the character, and those are the qualities they were looking for as far as the character goes. Now, initially, before this, they had Tia Carrere as an early candidate, and Leah Stallone, who would be going to be the singing voice for the movie. But instead, they went with Ming-Na because of the narration at the beginning of the Joy Luck Club. And Ming-Na, you could tell that she has fun doing it. She has gone on to do a lot of other stuff. She is the only actress to play a Disney princess, a Star Wars character, and a Marvel character, all in the same thing. She plays a Star Wars character in The Mandalorian, and she plays Melinda May on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is going in its 7th and final season. And I gotta say, she's a perfect choice for Mulan. You couldn't win with anyone else. And not only that, I do admit though, the remake kind of has a bit of a missed opportunity as far as the show goes, as to have Ming-Na play the mother of Liu Fu, who is playing Mulan in that movie. But I digress. But she does a great. But Ming-Na does a really great job in the role. She brings a lot of dedication and a lot of determination to the role, and she is perfect for the part. She does a great job. And Ming-Na, she's in her late 50s and she still holds up as a character, and she still looks very beautiful to this day. So I guess I gotta put a tribute there, don't I?
It just goes to show you that it doesn't matter if it's an animation, but if the story is great and it's telling, you know, this wonderful story of a young girl who saves China, and she didn't need a man to do it.
Okay, go right ahead. Disney was aiming up for the talent in the vein of style of Robin Williams as the genie. So Eddie Murphy, he first balked out during the recording of the Disney studios, and so he recorded his voice of the character in his basement in New Jersey, Inglewood, New Jersey, and Eddie Murphy, he fits the character of Mushu perfectly. I like it. He brings a lot of humor to the story. He brings a lot of comedic balance with him and Mulan, and there is change. And he is, again, this is a character that could have easily been annoying, but because of Eddie Murphy and because of the writing, Mushu is a great character, and he got a lot of criticism for the reception. This movie did get criticism in China, mainly one of the reasons was because of Mushu, and that's what causes the movie to not be shown until a year later. But nowadays, controversy is everywhere. They even get, especially with the remake with Liu Fu, because of the whole thing with her and the police brutality, which she does not support. And you people want to talk about criminal wrongdoing. You people give, I was going to wait to say this in my review of the remake, but I feel like I want to get this off my chest now. You people give crap to Brie Larson and Liu Fu and Daisy Ridley for different things. Brie Larson for the whole Captain Marvel thing, Liu Fu because the whole police brutality thing, which she has came out and said she does not support it, and the whole thing with Daisy Ridley for playing a character, and the whole thing with killing Rita playing her character in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. But yet nobody gives crap to Amber Heard for what she did to Johnny Depp, and I only have one clip to describe how I feel about that.
But you know who is guilty of criminal wrongdoing? This guy!
Yeah, exactly. Criminal wrongdoing at its best. Not cool. Not cool. Go on. So, the rest of the cast is really great. B.D. Wong is Li Shang. I think he is a great choice. His singing voice is a different person, but B.D. Wong does a great job as that character. You also have the rest of the characters in this movie. The rest of the characters in this movie are great. You got George Takei, the late Pat Morita from the original Karate Kid, is Sun Takei, Harvey Fierstein, June Foray, Miriam Margot. There's a great cast here of a well-respected Asian culture, except for Harvey Fierstein, Miguel Ferrer, Eddie Murphy, and and Miriam Margolis and Frank Welker and others. But all of the voice cast in this movie is great. They all fit their roles perfectly. In this movie, they all succeed in doing a great job. And especially Ming-Na. You can't talk about Mulan and not mention Ming-Na. It's impossible. The action scenes in this movie are very well done. I do love the action. It's very fun. It's very, very cool. Especially the Huan army sequence in the mountains. That is a very well done scene. I was watching the movie a few days ago, and that scene still is another image that was in my head when I watched it. It's stuck in my head. It's a great moment, especially with the music and the sound effects, even the animation design and what all went into that. It is well executed. It is well utilized to its full advantage. And this movie's not afraid to go dark. There are some dark moments, especially with the villain, especially for a G-rated film. Now, even, which shouldn't be surprised, because there are some movies nowadays that are G that does have some dark moments. Even Toy Story 3 and 4 did have some dark moments with lots of. Not every animated movie is going to have its dark moments. Even, there were some dark moments in terms of Shrek, the third, but it was mainly still lighthearted, dark. Spider-Man to Spider-Verse took that PG rating and went dark in a few areas, while still being a 100% family-friendly, light-hearted film. So, with that being said, the action scenes are well executed and the dark moments are very well done. Musical score. It's time to talk about the musical score. And the musical score in this movie is excellent by the late Jerry Goldsmith. Jerry Goldsmith was one of the best film composers, and he did pass away back in the early 2000s. He did music for Star Trek and a bunch of other great films, especially with this. This is one of Jerry Goldsmith's best scores. You have a great choir, great orchestra there, and it feels very fitting for the film. Now, initially, Danny Elfman and Thomas Newman was going to do the music for the film. Even Rachel Portman was selected as the film's composer, but due to her pregnancy during production, she backed out. And I also had Randy Elderman, and his Dragonheart theme was used in the trailer, and even guitar was considered. But Jerry Goldsmith, he became available and he signed out after dropping our project. And the score in this movie is excellent. It's a well done score. The soundtrack again is great. A lot of great songs in this movie on the soundtrack. So, with that being said, I have nothing more to say when it comes to score and soundtrack and musical numbers. I think I said everything I need to say there. It is one of those well-respected scores that you could ask for, and it's great. It's really good. It's a really great orchestral score and a great selection of musical numbers. The relationship between Mulan and Li Shang is basically, because Li Shang is the mentor at first, and he isn't even aware that Mulan is intimidating his man until we get into that mountaintop scene and you do find it out. And I thought the Mulan and Li Shang relationship in this movie was good. It's a good progression because it starts off as mentor and trainer, and then as the movie progresses, it goes into something more, and it basically becomes a romance between these two. And this is a romance I do buy. And do not really engage or anything in this movie, but it's a very nice way of handling it. And I do think they handled that very well in this film. So I gotta give credit to the direction and writing once again. Now, the thing I want to talk about. I'll Make a Man Out of You montage scene. That is a montage scene, and that song alone, it is the best song in the movie. Now that Now, if you were to have a song like this in a movie nowadays, a lot of people say that's feminism, that's SJW propaganda, is this, is that. But back then, you were able to have a song like this in the movie like this, and you could be using. And the montage is very well done. Seeing all of them train, kung fu fighting, the way the lyrics are written, it is played out very well here. And I can't really, the way the montage scene is played out here is very well executed here, is very well done. And I do give credit there to where credit is due. And the last thing I want to talk about in this positives category is the climatic fight between Mulan and Hsiao. It's a very fun fight. She comes up with a cool plan, and at first they don't believe Shang, and the other guys don't believe her, but they end up trusting her completely, and Mushu comes in to help. And every time you see Mushu throughout this movie, he is funny. Unfortunately, he would not be played by Eddie Murphy in the sequel, which I'll get to. But I will say that it is well done. How the action scene plays out. They defeat Shen Yu and his men, and they prevent him from killing the Emperor, and Mulan lures the leader onto the roof, and she engages in a single combat, which is an awesome moment, and it shows how much of a badass she is. So, with that being said, I do have to give that a big round of applause. And when having destroyed the palace and shamed the army and her family, initially re-imprinted by the Emperor Foray, they are praised by him and the other inhabitants for saving them, and they bow down to her, which every time you see that scene, you can't help but get chills down your spine. It is one of the best scenes ever created. Everything about the movie that you have, that I just listed off, and who knows how long this review is going to probably be, all of that is well executed, it's well done, to the best of abilities, and it's never a bad moment there. Because if there was a bad moment in this movie, then it would easily have me change the grade I'm going to give it.
As far as the negatives go, I don't really have any negatives with this movie. There's not really anything bad that I can say about the movie. Nothing.
So overall, when it comes to Mulan, the original, I think this is one of the best animated films. There is a reason why this is on my 100 favorite movies of all time. I'm not going to tell you what number it is going to be on, because you're going to have to wait until August to see that. This is one of the best animated movies of all time. This is easily one of Disney's best films, and their best film as the Disney Renaissance era, with great animation, amazing writing and direction from the writers and directors, a great score, fun musical numbers, a very strong female lead in the case of Mulan, played amazingly by the gorgeous and always sexy Ming-Na. Eddie Murphy as Mushu is really great. The rest of the characters are great. A lot of colorful, entertaining value. There are some dark moments to it with tons of development. You could have more development for a few characters, but that's only a small nitpick. And this is a movie that's fast-paced and gets you straight in and gets you straight out. And this is a movie that a lot of guys and a lot of girls can easily watch and say that this is a strong female character. She's not overpowered. She's not a Mary Sue. She's nothing like any of the female characters that you were disappointed with if you're not a fan of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, or if you were and she's not, and this movie does not pull a feminist agenda, as you would think it would, when it would Charlie's Angels 2019, or Black Christmas 2019, or Ghostbusters 2016 did. This is easily a great film, and in my opinion, I think Mulan 1998 is a masterpiece. And for that reason alone, I'm going to give Mulan 1998 my JD RSA, which is my Spider-Verse Rainbow Seal of Approval. This is an amazing film. No complaints about it whatsoever. Now, before I go, I would like to give my thoughts on the upcoming live-action remake and how I feel about it. When it comes to this live-action Mulan remake, I am one of the few people who is genuinely interested and who wants to be fair and give this a shot. Who knows? It could be bad. It could be just as a step down from the original predecessor. But I want to be fair. I want to give it an open mind, and I want to give this movie the benefit of the doubt, because all of the live-action Disney remakes, some of them I do enjoy. Some of them are okay, but disappointing, like The Lion King 2019. And then you have bad, which is Maleficent 1 and Maleficent Mistress of Evil. But from the trailers and the visual aesthetics, I love what Nikki Caro is going to do with the story. They are following the original story without the musical numbers. And I know there's people out there who's mad there's no Mushu or there's no musical numbers and there's no Li Shang. But you do have to take into account, this is a different adaptation of the story. And the original Mulan story did not have a dragon talking in it. So for that alone, I want to give it a chance. We got a great cast: Gong Li, Jason Scott Lee, Liu Yifei as the titular main character, which I'm excited to see her in this role. Jet Li is back for his first movie after retirement. It's great to see him back. And the action scenes, while it is a bit reminding me, and from the trailers, of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the action scenes does look very well shot, and it does have some color in this movie. And this is the first live-action remake to be PG-13, so that is a big round of applause to them. Who knows? It could end up sucking, but I want to be optimistic, and I want to give it a chance. And I will be reviewing the sequel, Mulan 2, and because it is just to prepare for this live-action remake too, so that will probably be sometime next month. I'll pre-record that and have it set for as premiere. You know how I do. And also, there will be more reviews for more Disney stuff coming too. But as far as this live-action remake goes, I'm interested. I don't see what the problem is. If you, please go support it. If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. But to just judge it because it's a live-action remake is just plain unnecessary. You have to judge it as its own thing. That's what some people are missing about a remake. Most remakes, it's hard to do that. I'm looking at you, Dark Phoenix, even though I ain't gonna get into that. But I'm gonna give this live-action Mulan a chance. It could be bad, it could be disappointing, it could be great. But I'm going to wait until it comes out on July 24th. So with that being said, those are my thoughts on the upcoming live-action remake of Mulan. And I am excited for Dune, which, too, that has to be good too. But we'll see when the trailer decides to drop. Because the photos of Dune looks good. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Mulan 1998. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's underrated? Do you think it's overrated? What is your favorite movie in the Disney Renaissance era? All my social media links are in the description box down below. If you want to donate money to my channel, DM me or email me privately, and I'll tell you how to do that. If you want to send fan mail, you can do the same thing there, and you can just send me free fan mail if you want to, but you have to DM me or email me privately first to do that. With that being said, look forward to more reviews. I got the remainder of Christopher Nolan's reviews for Memento and Insomnia and following coming, leading up to release of Tenet. Also, I'm planning 2 live audio commentaries for Inception and The Dark Knight on their anniversaries, and I got a bunch of other stuff coming. You guys keep cool, enjoying the Epictasticness.